Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tanya McMillan. I am an admissions coordinator here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We will be beginning shortly. I'm going to allow a few more minutes for others to join us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to enter those questions in the chat box below. Thank you. We will kick off the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education and discuss an overview and details, requirements, and leave the floor. To start, just a quick few facts about the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. For school enrollment, we have approximately 2,465 students and offer more than 38 graduate programs, which include doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. We have approximately 121 full-time faculty members and a strong network of 23,000 School of Education alums. We are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. At this time, I'm going to hand the floor over to Dr. Anderson. She will introduce herself and begin our School Administration and Supervision presentation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a beautiful spring morning here in Baltimore. And I just want to say thank you for joining us and for choosing Hopkins as you're looking into your options. There's a lot of reasons why school leadership is really key today. I know that we've had, if you are in a school right now, this has been a pretty rough week for a lot of us because there's so many unknowns, and we put our students first and we put our role as advocates for children and families at a high place in our career pursuits. So having a week like this, I think, has really made a lot of people just really question what are our next steps going forward. So I just want to say that, I really appreciate that you're joining us today. You could go anywhere and be anywhere thinking about this next step, but I feel like our program is very unique. And so we're trying to prepare candidates to be strong decision makers. We're trying to prepare our candidates to be able to navigate and circumvent pretty choppy waters. And so I think that, given the circumstances that we find ourselves in, it is not a coincidence that we are here today to talk about school administration and supervision. I guess just a little bit about me. I took a circuitous path to education. I was a journalism major at Syracuse first, but I really had an interest in serving the public and wanted to be more well-versed in public policy. So then I wound up at Georgetown and have a master's degree in public policy from Georgetown, then went on to University of Pennsylvania, where I got my teacher education training, taught for a few years, went back to Penn to get my PhD in education policy. And from there, I had also, in the midst of all that, worked as a curriculum coordinator and as a assistant principal, and got chosen to go to a small town south of Philadelphia called Chester, Pennsylvania, to open the first university assisted charter school in the Commonwealth. And that was a very unique experience. And I think that unique set of experiences is part of what led me to come back to Baltimore. Hopkins recruited me to come back to Baltimore so that I could help build up and open the Henderson Hopkins School, which the School of Education runs. And so I did that. And while I was doing that, took on these additional responsibilities of running this amazing program. And so now I run all the school administration and supervision programs, both for the independent school leadership program, as well as for the school administration and supervision master's program and certificate. I also serve as the academic program director for our newly launched Center for Safe and Healthy Schools. We've been having a lot of conversations here at the School of Education over the last year about what it means to be safe and healthy in school, and trying to shift the conversation from school safety uniquely to safe and healthy. So that gives you a little bit of background about me and about my pedagogy and how I approach this work. But now I want to tell you a little bit more about the work that we are going to be part of jointly together if you choose our program. So our school administration and supervision, oh, okay. So the first slide is asking whether you're ready. And so ready is a combination of a number of things. It's asking whether you're ready to lead in an effective school environment. And we want to make sure that when you leave our program, you have the knowledge, the skills, as well as the dispositions to make sound leadership decisions, to have lasting impact in your academic, social, and community circles. We have two, as I said, we have a face-to-face online, face-to-face program, as well as online administration and supervision programs to help you to be highly proficient in the skills that you will need to transition into leadership with expertise, stamina, and support. And then finally, we also offer a certificate program for educational leadership in independent schools. Now, what I will say is that a lot of you, if you're thinking about going into leadership at this time, you may have doubts about whether you're ready. You may have doubts about whether the district that you're in is currently supporting you so that you can make this transition. You may have some questions. And so we often get a lot of people who come to our program and then leave and are able to quickly maximize on their experience to transition into a new role in their district or even in their independent school environment. Thank you. So there's 5 things that we really focus on in our program as we consider what it takes to become an effective school leader. Number 1, we want you to be reflective as a practitioner. We want you to be thoughtful about the decisions that you're making. And so our program is really organized around the types of exercises and experiences that will help you to be a reflective practitioner. Number 2, we want you to be an evidence-based decision maker. We want you to be able to think about what the data says, to be able to read the data, to be able to understand the data, and then to be able to use your understanding of the data to be able to make decisions. Next, we want you to be able to use the latest technology. Okay. Thank you. The latest technology to be able to implement technology across school platforms. As you're seeing now, the importance of technology could not be greater in our schools. And so having advocates in the administrative role who understand how to apply technology in instruction is critically important. Number 4, being an advocate for diversity is key. As we look across the state of Maryland and beyond, what we're seeing is that our schools are changing in terms of the demographics. And so, we're seeing that schools look vastly different today in terms of the composition of our student population than it did even 10 years ago. So we want to make sure that our administrators and future school leaders are able to advocate for diversity and integrating programming and curricular instruction that supports all socioeconomic perspectives. And then finally, we want to make sure that you as a school leader are an expert in the content. So it's important to really understand the content as a school leader and to be able to engage that. Thank you. So our school administration and supervision programs are designed to help you prepare for a variety of roles in schools. Everything from head of school to school principal or assistant principal to department leader or content specialist if you're in a high school or if you're in an upper school. And then also becoming a member of instructional leadership teams. We find that this is the entry point for several people coming into the program, that they are already members of their school's instructional leadership team, and they're asking for additional credentialing to help them to make the next step. And the reason for that, I would say, is that what we're seeing is that the principalship is now between 4 and 7 years on average. Back in the olden golden days, about 20 years ago, principals tended to sit in the seat of school leader for 20 years or more. And now, as that has shifted to 4 to 7 years, people who are at a much earlier stage of their career are being asked to join the school's instructional leadership team in some form. And so once they are a part of that school instructional leadership team, they're finding that they need to also increase their credentialing to participate in school decision making. So there are a number of other district-wide leadership roles as well that are served by getting your Admin 1 credential. And so coming to the School Administration and Supervision program here at Hopkins is a great way for you to get prepared for your next career step. Thank you. A question that I get asked quite a bit is about whether or not people feel like they fit at Hopkins in the School of Education. A lot of people ask me, whether or not the program is so rigorous that it won't be attainable for them to participate here, because we are, as our moderator said, we are one of the top schools of education in the United States. So it's very important for people to understand that despite the level of rigor, we know that our challenging curriculum supports robust classroom dialogue, and it also exposes you to really engage in course activities, and that puts you at a distinct advantage over peers as they apply for future positions. I've heard from so many people in the last few weeks who have said that our program has allowed them to really be prepared for transitioning to online education because they've done so much already in the online platform. So that has helped them to transition their schools in this way. In terms of program options, if you have a bachelor's degree, the School of Education offers a master's degree in administration and supervision. That's 39 credits. You have up to 5 years to complete this program, but many people complete this course of study in just 3 years. In addition, we offer a traditional online certificate program that is wildly popular. Many people look to our online certificate program in administration and supervision because it's 6 courses. I'll explain a little bit more about that shortly. And then we have an online program with people who are Teach for America master's degree candidates and graduates. And so if you're in the certificate program, we have an opportunity for you to take up to 3 years to complete the certificate programs. Okay, next slide. Thank you. So in terms of the logistics of the program, our programs are offered in both the spring and the summer. We also are open in the fall. Our face-to-face courses are for independent school leadership are generally offered in Columbia, and our face-to-face admin and supervision master's program is also offered in Columbia. Our online A&S courses typically have 2 starts per semester. For example, in the fall, we have a cohort that can start in August, and then you can also start in October. So we have rolling admissions to the A&S program so that you can be part of the program as quickly as you want. We just started a new cohort well, it's not necessarily a cohort. Cohort is the wrong word. We actually don't have cohorts, but what we have is we have 6 starts per year. So we have as I said, we have an August start, an October start, a January start, a March start, and then we have our summer starts. So if you would like to be a part of the program, we try to onboard you as quickly as possible, and you don't necessarily have to apply to the program in the spring and wait until the fall to enroll. This allows you the flexibility of getting started as quickly as you want, which is something that our students absolutely report has been a huge help for them. And frequently when I talk to our candidates in the interviews, they are saying that, we really want to get started as soon as possible. Once people have made the decision, this is what I have found in my years of experience. Once students have made the decision that they want to be school leaders, they are able to quickly follow up, make the decision, and pull the trigger so that they can enroll. I hate to use that euphemism but in any event, but we want to be able to get you onboarded as quickly as possible, and that's why we have as many starts as we have. If you're part of the 6-course certificate, some people can finish in a year. I will tell you that our internship is not offered during the summer semester. So if you're trying to be a part of this program in the summer, and you want to do your internship and that's your last course, and you only have that to finish your sequence, you would have to wait until the fall, because we want to make sure that you get the full semester experience in the internship. And the internship is pretty rigorous. So we want to make sure that you have time to complete those assignments and get the support that you need from your site supervisor as well as your mentor. You can take up to 2 courses per semester. Special arrangements to take 3 courses per semester would require me to give you special permission. There are certain circumstances during which I would allow it, but typically I don't, because what I have found is that when students are working full-time and trying to take 3 courses at this level of rigor, it does not always end well. So if that happens, I mean, those are special circumstances, and I am usually very willing to try to help the students to get through the program as quickly as possible if that's something that they need. Sometimes students will say, you know, I need to have the program finished by June of 2021 so that I can go into this role as assistant principal. My principal is transitioning out and I need to be ready to step up by whatever date. So I will work with you absolutely to try to help you to look at your program plan and figure out how to sequence that. But I also will keep in mind your past academic history. So if you're a student who has not, you know, had a history that is stellar, that's something I would take into consideration. Also your load, what's happening in your life, what's happening in your school, what other responsibilities do you have? So if you are a student who's trying to take 3 classes in a semester, that might be something that you want to talk to me about. I'm open to having that conversation. But on the other end of the spectrum, some candidates choose to take just 1 course per semester, and that is also okay. If you're in the master's program, as I said, you have up to 5 years to complete the program. In the certificate program, you have up to 3 years to complete the program. And, you know, you should think about, as you're considering joining the program, talking to your site-based mentor, whether that will be your principal, it might be your assistant principal, it could be a department chair who also already has their Admin 1 credential. You just want to make sure that you have already spoken to someone to get feedback about their support for you in the internship in that final semester so that they're aware that this is coming. And so students who do that early on, they find themselves, you know, really ready to start the internship. Sometimes there are changes that happen when, you know, a principal leaves or something happens in the school composition for administration changes, but those are changes that we also try to work through. And so I would just encourage you to, you know, again, keep your options open. It may not be the person that you initially selected when you get to, by the time you get to your internship, but it doesn't mean that you can't successfully complete it. We provide you with a site supervisor who is one of my faculty members who comes out to your site or online, and they set up meetings with you and your site-based mentor to walk you through the internship process. So you get a lot of support through this process as well. And to make sure that you're successful. It's my goal that all of our candidates are successful, because when you're successful, you go on, and this is why a lot of people get recommended to our program, because they've heard from other people that they went through the Hopkins School Leadership Program and it was a benefit to them. And so, you know, our program gets a lot of word of mouth traction from folks who have felt like the program was a huge help as they took the next step in their career. One last thing to note is that both face-to-face and online candidates have an internship orientation, whether that's online if you're in the online program or if you're in the face-to-face program. And sometimes people are in the online program, but they want to do a face-to-face internship. We work with you to schedule that. We have flexibility as the hallmark of this program. So that internship orientation takes place the semester before the internship begins, so that we can review all of the internship expectations. Again, it is our goal to get you through this, to make sure that you go through this with flying colors and feel successful. So we are very, very always just excited about getting you to the internship step, because that means you're almost done. All right, so next, Let's talk about the pathways. I spoke about this just a moment ago. We have both online and face-to-face programs that are open to all of our admin and supervision candidates if you already have a master's degree. As I said, if you have a master's degree, it might be in biology, it might be in English, it might be in elementary education, but if you have your master's degree already, but now you're looking to add that Admin 1 credential, you can choose our 6-course certificate. Now, let me say something that has just happened that has come down from MSDE, the Maryland State Department of Education. They have said to us that students who do not graduate by our programs by October will also now have to show evidence of having had a special education course. So this is something that is new. If you have had a special education course as part of your teacher training, that's fine. We have folks in our program coordinating office that will take the time to look through your transcript to verify that. If you do not have, or you don't recall if you've had a special education credit, you need to have a three-credit course on your transcript somewhere, whether it is part of this program or earlier. If you have had it already in another program, then it's fine. As long as it is a 3-credit course, it will be approved. But if you have not taken a special education course for 3 credits and that's not part of your transcript, you are now required as of this fall to take a 7th course for the certificate course. The credits for the master's program will remain the same, but you will take one of your electives as the special education class if you have not been able to provide us with information to substantiate that you've taken the special education requirement. All right, so in terms of our courses, we offer our courses flexibly. You can take the courses in any sequence that you'd like, except for the internship being last. Our pace, as I said before, is very flexible to accommodate your busy lives, whether you want to take 1 class per semester or 2. It is up to you, and we're happy to work with you through that. One thing that we find is that many of the candidates for admin and supervision tend to like to pay out of pocket for their courses, and so they sometimes just take 1 class at a time. You have up to 3 years, as I said, to finish that 6-course sequence, so you can certainly do that at a 1 course per semester basis. And so we want you to generally have the flexibility to choose how you take those courses as well. And so, as I said too, our courses are taught both at the Homewood campus as well as our Columbia campus if you're taking them face-to-face, and then we offer them online. Okay, if you're part of Teach for America, and I'm not sure if anyone who's on this call today is a part of Teach for America or graduated out of the Teach for America partnership that we have with Hopkins, but if you were, you may have taken effective leadership or school law as a class already. If you have taken either one of those classes, those 2 elective courses will count towards the admin and supervision program. So if you have done that, then you would take the next part of this sequence, which would be organization and administration of schools. And then you would take supervision and professional development. And then finally, the candidates, you would conclude with curriculum theory, development, and implementation. So that gives you kind of like an overview of what the program is meant to cover in terms of the coursework. Next, as I just went over, these are the 6 courses that are part of our graduate certificate program. So as you look at that, you can see that you have school law, effective leadership, supervision, and professional development. And then there's curriculum theory, the internship, and then organization and administration. So you can take those first 5 courses in any sequence that you would like. So if you do not have a preference about how to take those courses, then you would, we could talk through how you would organize your courses, because we pretty much offer all of the courses except for the internship every semester. But I will say that it's kind of important that you try to get registered as soon as you are ready to get registered, so that you can, because our classes tend to close quickly, and sometimes we might not offer an additional section until the following semester. As I said, if you can fit into a certain sequence, you would be able to finish in 1 year. So that would include organization doing, for example, here's an example of how this would work. It would include doing organization and administration and effective leadership as a course of study in the spring. If you chose to start in the spring, you would take supervision and professional development in the summer. You would take school law in the summer, in those 2 classes in the summer, and then in the fall, you would finish up with curriculum theory and then the internship. Now, again, that would presuppose that you have completed your 3-course special education requirement, and that we can validate that that's already been taken care of on your transcript. Okay. So next, the 8-week online certification course format is facilitated on a weekly cycle. It's a highly interactive program, and it includes a balance of whole group, team, and individual activities and assignments each week. It does require some degree of comfort because we use both Blackboard, Web 2.0, and TK20. But what you'll find is that if you are used to using most digital platforms at this point, then this is a breeze for people to get online into Blackboard and to learn how to submit the work. So it's and people really like the engagement of the discussion blogs. There's a lot of different, we have, submission of traditional papers and narratives, but you also have your discussion blogs and your posts, and we use things like Flipgrid and Padlet and VoiceThread for students to complete, and Torch for students to complete their work. So there's a lot of different types of interactive activities in each of the courses. If you're interested in the master's degree program, I would just say to you that the 39 credit master's program is typically completed within 3 years. That is a face-to-face program. There are some people that come to our program and say that they want to complete the certificate program for admin and supervision with another online master's certificate, or online certificate, so that they can create a master's program. That is an option. If you're interested in that, please reach out and let me know. I'm happy to talk to you about that. As for the internship is for, if you're a public school teacher, the internship is designed for people who have at least 27 months of satisfactory teaching performance. So before you begin the internship, we want to make sure that you've had sufficient time in the classroom. We do get people who come straight out of their undergrad teacher prep program and they want to start our program. And so what we find is that, they go through our program while they are beginning their teacher careers, and that by the time they get to their internship and expect to finish the program, they are going to meet that 27-month requirement. And that comes from the state, that when you apply for the Admin 1 cert, you should have that 27-month requirement met. As I've said earlier, the internship is the final capstone course in the 6-course sequence or the 39 credit sequence. And candidates typically complete the internship in their current school. So as I said before, that's something that when you have an interview with me coming into the program, we will sit down and talk about your current site. Sometimes, as I said, things change. Your administrator might change. You may change schools in the middle of the program. So those are the kinds of questions that I will be asking, just to find out your comfort level and your plan to move through the internship, because that is the really critical piece, is the capstone of the program. And so, as I said earlier, we assign a site supervisor who will meet with you and your designated mentor several times during this capstone internship. And both your mentor as well as the site supervisor that we assign, they both must sign off that you have successfully completed the requirements of the internship in order to complete the course. And then our ANS internship is aligned to meet the requirements of the professional standards for educational leaders that were published in 2015. So just to give you one of the other, I guess, common questions that I have is about what the internship consists of. So here is a list of some of the things that are part of our internship process. So we ask you to do a core beliefs reflection, which is to think about your pedagogy as a leader and how you situate yourself in the work. We also ask you to think about what kinds of activities you're planning to do. So you have a 200-hour requirement. I believe that may go to 240 hours in the next year from MSDE, but right now it's 200 hours. It's 50 hours of observation, and then there's another 150 hours of performance hours, which means that those are active hours, things that you're actively participating in. A observation hour might be something like attending a board meeting for your school. We also ask that you complete the clinical supervision reflection assignment, that you have your mentor complete their assessment. At the end of the semester of your internship, you will complete a portfolio and you will organize all the various segments of your portfolios to upload that so that your site supervisor can walk through that, and then you will present that, and then finally you complete a portfolio reflection paper. So as I said, it's a very rigorous set of activities, but we see hundreds of candidates go through this process every year, and so we're excited that you are considering our program for this next step. And then finally, I just want to speak to folks who might be interested in independent school leadership. So we also have a 5-course sequence certificate for educational leadership for independent schools. We are working to get those courses online as well. They're currently only offered in the face-to-face format. And they cover many of the same areas of content like supervision and professional development and curriculum theory, but they are targeted specifically for folks who are working in independent schools. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out and I'm happy to talk you through that as well. Okay, so in terms of the tuition here, as you can see, for our face-to-face program is $793 per credit. Our online tuition is $840 per credit. Your district may give you some tuition reimbursement, but you should contact your district office for information about that. And then here is the financial aid email address, soe.finaid@jhu.edu. I also have the phone number here, 410-516-9808. If you would like to get in touch with them, you can also go to our website. The address of our financial aid office is in the admissions department is also here at the top of this page, education.jhu.edu/admission/tuition if you want to get more information to reach out to someone about that. And then finally, so we have financial aid deadlines. There are 2 of them. We have one coming up for April 1st if you're wanting to start in the summer. The date is June 1st for the fall semester and then November 1st for the spring. But again, admissions are rolling. We do have some limited scholarships and grants. So if you're interested in trying to apply for those, I would say that you should try to get your application for financial aid in by the dates that you see on the slide. And if you have any other questions, again, I would encourage you to go to the website, students.education.jhu.edu/financial to get more information and to reach out to the folks in the financial aid office who are fabulous and wonderful. Finally, if you have more questions for me, you can email first of all, you can email the admissions office at soe.admissions@jhu.edu. I recognize you might not be able to see that very clearly, but it's soe.admissions@jhu.edu. My office number is 410-516-2012 at the School of Education. Right now, we're all working pretty remotely. So my cell number is also 410-978-8198 if you want to reach out and have questions. My email is listed here at m.anderson@jhu.edu. And then the person who helps me to keep all of this together is our fabulous program coordinator, Liesl McNeil, and Liesl's email address is lmcneal@jhu.edu. And if you've already reached out to start this process, you may have spoken to her already. So with that, I'm going to stop and I'm going to check to see if there are any questions in the chat box. If you have any questions, please let me know. So the start date for summer it's in May. It's at the end of May, and I apologize that I need to check that out. I don't know if Tanya's still on, but the date is in May. It's at the end of May. So I can confirm that and get back to you about that. But it's our graduation is our graduation was supposed to be May 20th. And so our next semester, I believe, was supposed to start. So it was supposed to be May 26th. So I believe that it's May 26th, Amanda. But I will, if you talk to Liesl, she can absolutely confirm that. But I believe that the summer start is May 26th. So if you want to get your materials in between now and May 26th so that you can start, absolutely, I would recommend that. Okay, I think I see a question from Laverne. Okay, so let's see, Laverne, if I need to use different resources, who might I use? So I would suggest, so the reference thing is interesting for me because, I just want to make sure that you have references. You could use, a fellow teacher who can speak to your character. You could use a colleague who can speak to something you've done. If you've taught Sunday school and you have someone that you think could be a good reference in that regard. It's really important that, we want to have at least 2 references, but sometimes I've seen where people have felt like they couldn't move forward with the process because their references were taking so long. So I would just encourage you to think about, just reaching out to people that you think could support you in this program and in this process, and ask them for some help. Just to, we don't need the reference to be, a page or 3 pages. We just need to have someone to give us, a few sentences to speak to your credibility and that to also to your willingness to work hard in the program based on what they know of you. Great. Okay, thank you, Amanda. I think that you've gotten what you needed. Good. Yune asks, are there grants and scholarships offered to out-of-state students? So the grants and scholarships that we offer, they're not only for in-state students. They are for everyone. They are not full. We don't have any scholarships that are a full ride for the program. I will say that. So the scholarships that we do offer, typically they might pay for one course or part of one course, but right now our scholarships are not set up to cover an entire program. So it would not cover all 6 courses or the entire 39 credit master's program. Okay, if you've sent the info to both of your supervisors, but they have yet to complete the recommendations, I would just go to 2 more, because if that's what's holding you up from starting the program, then think about who else could write the recommendation so that you can get to the next stage of the program. Great, wonderful. Okay, so I think I have, I've tried to go through the questions that I see in the chat box. Are there any other questions? Okay, so let's see. Yune says, I am considering taking several courses online this year, then switch full-time on campus. Okay, so we can certainly talk about that. Once you complete your application process, we will walk through what that might look like for you in your program plan. Great. Anyone else? Will there be any program offered job or job from the department once I am on campus? We don't offer, we don't have graduate assistantships in my program. Yes, I know what you're speaking about, our program, because most of the people in our program are working full-time. So we typically don't have graduate assistantships. And so sometimes when people move, if they are moving to take on this program full time, we do have several people who are doing this as a full-time role. They go on their own to look for part-time jobs to help them as they are students full-time in the program, but we don't have GA roles, graduate assistant roles, or teaching assistant roles specifically in the admin and supervision program. Thank you. That was actually a really good question. All these questions are really good. Okay, how do I check to see that my financial aid information has gotten to you all? Is there a place to check? I don't know, Laverne, if there is a place to check, but I would suggest that you see here this, that's the Office of Admissions, but you can hardly see it because I put it in blue and it's also in blue. I would say to reach out to the financial aid office. So the phone number to financial aid, Laverne, is right here, 410-516-9808. And I would encourage you to reach out to the financial aid office and to ask them whether or not they have gotten all the information, because I think that that is important. That can hold you up sometimes. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so let me put my phone number in the chat box as well. As I said, just in case you want to get in touch with me, that is my cell phone number. I will be here. We're going to be working remotely for the foreseeable future. So please feel free to text me or call me if you have any questions. So as I close this morning, I just want to open up again the opportunity for you to ask any questions. If you have anything privately that you'd like to talk to me about, feel free to put it in a text or to call me. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Laverne. Thank you, Yune. Thank you, Kevietta, I think. Thank you all. I really do appreciate that you, Amanda, I just appreciate that you have gotten up early on a Saturday when you could be outside being socially distant from everyone, that you have taken the time to join us today for this presentation. I believe you can go onto YouTube and Google this, and this presentation is also online somewhere. So you should be able to get a copy of this presentation as well. Okay, so with that, I don't know if our moderator is still on. I don't see the moderator. So, oh, thank you. You all are very sweet. Very sweet. So other than that, I guess we can close the chat. Thank you. You all are very sweet. So I hope that you all are interested and looking forward to seeing your applications come into the queue. And usually, one thing, let me say this too. Once you have had your interview with me, when you have submitted your application, we try to turn those interviews and into and finish up the admissions process relatively quickly. So once you've had your interview with me, it typically takes another 3 to 5 days for us to make the decision about whether to admit you, and you get that information in an email from us relatively quickly. So the turnaround process, once you get everything in, is really pretty short. So please feel free to, reach out to admissions if you have admissions questions, reach out to financial aid if you have financial aid questions, but we want to try to get you into the program so that you can start as quickly as possible. So if you wanted to start for that May, like Laverne asked, if you wanted to start for that May start, we would absolutely suggest that you get started now on submitting your materials online, and so we can have our interview and get you through. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you. Have a great Saturday, everyone. Take care.